Good evening and welcome all the participants. I humbly welcome to all here. And just I want to say a few words. Those participated in our last sessions, I hope they wrote their own notes. If possible, please share it with us so that we can understood what is the problem or any need to any this improvement. So please take your notes and share it if possible. Today we will start our this new session here. I hope you all can see this. क्या सभी को प्रेजेंटेशन दिखाई दे रहा है? Anyone reply for that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So today we will see this Mauryan Empire, art and architectural heritage of this Mauryan Empire, and here this Maurya dynasty, which was from 324 BC to 184 BC, and the capital is Patna. Uh, One important thing is that, as in mentioned in this Satvana's dynasty, there are many such important places. But which one is the fixed this capital in any particular dynasty? It's not. We can say we can't say it confirmly. But here, for this Maurya dynasty, we can say it firmly that Patna was the capital of this Maurya dynasty, and this period which started from this Chandragupta Maurya, who was founded this Mauryan Empire, and in 305, this Seleucus Nicator, who controlled the eastern this Syrian part, this Chandragupta Maurya was married with his daughter, and because of that marriage, we can see the impact of these different cultures in this Indian art and architecture, and not only on Indian, but we can say this impact of Indian art and architecture in these abroad countries too. Then we can say another this Chandragupta's interest in Jainism, which mentioned in this Jaina literature, is the first significant indication of the influence that this religions were to have on the future rulers of India for the next few centuries. If a Jain tradition is to be believed, Chandragupta ended his life as a pilgrim, and this recalls in Karnataka, in this vicinity of Shravan we can say there one cave about that, and this Bindusara, another important king, and then the Ashoka, who considered as the greatest ancient Indian emperor, first emperor to unify India after this conquering most of South Asia and Afghanistan, and adopted Buddhism. This granted animal rights and promoted non-violence. We can see his rock edicts about it, and then Dasharatha, Samprati, and this Salushuka, and up to the Brihadratha. It's up to 184 BC, and we can see here the circumstances that brought about the end of this Harappan culture sometime in the second millennium BC. A second phase of urbanization occurred around the 6th century, 6th century BC, when cities began to emerge once again all over India. Just a minute, here my screen on another, this one, just sorry for this, 1 minute. Maybe some internet issue is here. Because after 8 o'clock, no one can enter because of Say, age of great social and cultural, this ferment witnessed the life of the historical Mahavira and Buddha. We can see thus the 20 years difference, but in many literary sources, the dates, we can see the different dates of the birth of this Buddha and Mahavira both, and the rise of this Jainism and Buddhism. These political struggles among the city states finally led to this establishment of this Mauryan Empire. We know about this Nanda, the Magadha dynasty, and about this Chandragupta, which encompassed almost the entire subcontinent. Following the few objects remaining to us from the Harappan or this proto-historic period, the next extant works of art and architecture appears to be associated largely with the Maurya dynasty. Here we will start it from this pottery. So we can say northern black polished ware is a pottery found during this period. It has been referred as the highest level of pottery. And here some more examples. Somewhere it's mentioned as the Kumbh Kala. Kumbh Kala. It's mentioned in Kala Itihas Bharatiya और पाश्चात्य by Ramesh Chandra Patkar ji. Kumbh Kala. And we will see here some more potteries. The beautiful such type of work is there. We'll see some other examples later on. And here, particularly with this region of this empire, Ashoka, leaving art historians with a gap of several centuries to this contemplate. These works consist principally of animal capitals placed on columns. So, why this Maurya dynasty is famous so far? It's regarding Stamba, Stupa. So first we'll see about this Stamba. Previous tradition of sculpture is perishable materials such as wood or clay has been proposed in explanation for these unusual circumstances. Foreign influence has also been posted. So in particular, this voluminous rendering of Ramapura bull and Didar Ganjekshi, which is the most famous, are excellent examples of it. So architecture works in the form of these pillars, stupas and palaces commissioned by Mauryan rulers for political as well as these religious regions. So pillars we can see here, these Mauryan pillars usually made up of this Chunar sandstone, and as a symbol of the state assumed a great significance in the entire Mauryan Empire. So these Mauryan empires mainly comprise of four parts. Shaft, long shaft formed the base and was made up of a single piece of stone or this monolith, and then we can see this capital on top of shaft lay the capital, which was either lotus shaped or bell shaped. Then abacus, which is called above the capital, there was a circular or rectangular base known as abacus. Then capital figure. All the capital figures, usually animals like a bull, lion, elephant, are vigorous and carved standing on a square or circular abacus. So one more part is there. We can see it's the crown. So that animal figure, somewhere it's mentioned as the crown. So pillar. So the shafts are always plain. The main part of this stamba, the shafts are always plain and smooth, circular in cross section, slightly tapering upwards, and always this chiseled out of a single piece of stone. There is no distinct base at the bottom of the shaft. The lower parts of the capitals have the shape and appearance of a gently arched bell form of lotus petals. The abacus are of two types, square and plain, and circular and decorated, and these are of different proportions. So the crowning animals are masterpieces of Mauryan art. So here this word is used, the crowning animals. So shown either seated or standing, always in the round and chiseled as a single piece with the abacus. We can see here some of the most famous places of this stamba. This Lauria Nandargarh, then Sanshika, Ramapura, Vaishali, Sanchi, and Sarnath. Here we can see some sketches. The left side you can see one sketch. This Ashoka and Chakra crown, then the abacus, then this bell, and this well polished monolithic shaft here, and here stamba with a lion capital, and this tabular platform used here. So sometimes it's conical cylindrical structure, and here we will see some other parts which developed later on. So slowly in Maurya period also, from Ashoka to Shunga, or we can say the Kushana period, and in Satvana period also. Such type of this architecture which developed slowly. Here you can see some of the these examples and the measurements. किस तरह का प्रमाण होना चाहिए, किस तरह से बनाना चाहिए, उसके लिए जो प्रमाण यूज किए जाते थे वो हम यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं. So here some more this hollow cylinder, then insert part. Uh, the same we can see in the Gupta period also in Delhi. Then this is the Vaishali Stamba. Here you can see another this representation of animal abacus and this base, this inverted lotus. So you can see this type of inverted lotus in Satvana period also in Karle, Bhaje, Kondana like that. And then this Lauria Nandangad. So such type of beautiful pillars are there, and till today we can see the beauty of these pillars. So it's a we can say it's an amazing because such type of these pillars and this type of the capitals we can see Sarnath Lion Capital, and here right side Rampura Bull now located in this presidential palace of Rashtrapati Bhavan, and here the Sarnath capital in Sarnath Museum. You can see here the animals and this human figures also there, and some more beautiful figures. Here the elephant crowned pillar of Ashoka at the Mahabodhi temple Gaya. This is the Bharhut relief. And on right side you can see this Ashoka also called as his pillars Dhamma Thamba. It means Dharma Stamba. So religious pillars, pillars of the Dharma. So seventh major pillar edict, Brahmi script. He mentioned about these pillars. And then about the cave architecture, this emergence of rock cut cave architecture during this period. Caves were generally used as viharas, these living quarters for Jain and Buddhist monks. Initially, they were used by the Ajivika sect. Later, they become popular as Buddhist monasteries. Examples: Nagarjuna caves in Bihar. Rock cut cave at Barbara Hills near Gaya is also called Lomas Rishi cave, which is the most famous. But some more caves are also there. So Lomas Rishi cave was built for this Ajivika sect. It is decorated with semicircular Chaitya arch as the entrance. Some other important places for this is Rajgriha, Vaishali, Kapil Vastu, and another. Then here you can see this is called as the first of example, but as we can see the structure, it may be developed in later period too. This outside portion, Bhadrabahu cave of Shravanbelgola, where Chandragupta is said to have died. So it's a very simple architecture. Then here we can see why such places is how we can believe. इसके बारे में क्या प्रमाण है हमारे पास, क्यों क्यों हम इस पर विश्वास क्यों रखना है. बहुत बार ऐसा हो जाता है कि कई मिथ्स स्टोरीज भी हम सुनते हैं, मगर उसके लिए कुछ प्रमाण चाहिए, और वो प्रमाण क्या है उसको हम यहाँ पर देखते हैं. सम मोर वी कैन से द evidences for this. Here, Emperor Chandragupta Maurya and this is a Bhadrabahu stone carving from Chandragupta Basadi temple at Shravanbelgola. This is of 12th century around. And this Radha Kumar Mukherjee's book Chandragupta Maurya and His Times. A smaller hill at Shravanbelgola is called Chandragiri because Chandragupta lived and performed his penance there. So you can see here the sculpture. On the same hill is an ancient temple called this Chandragupta Basti because it was erected by Chandragupta. Moreover, the facade of this Basti or temple, which is in the form of a perforated screen, contains 90 sculptured scenes depicting events in the lives of Bhadrabahu and Chandragupta. So it means that there are some few these evidences are there. You can see here these sculptures. 90 sculptures, but here only 45 you can see, and another is of 45. Now here you can see that the Sudama cave or the Barber Hills, entrance of the Sudama cave in the forefront of this Barber Hills, located in this Makadumpur region of Jainabad district of Bihar, 24th kilometer from Gaya. See this simple architecture in such a big rock, or you can see the hill. And here we can say the Barber Hill caves are the oldest surviving rock cut caves in India, dating from the Maurya Empire, some with Ashokan inscriptions. So here you can see this architectural plan of this cave, or longitudinal section of this cave. And here it's mentioned सुदामा गुफा का प्रवेश द्वार भी मिश्र शैली से निर्मित है. इस गुफा में दो प्रकोष्ठ है. Yes, because such type of horseshoe type caves are there, and all such Buddhist caves or this vihara we can see in this horseshoe type. So here, this is the famous carved entrance of this Lomas Rishi cave, dated to approximately 300 BC, making it the first known of Maurya relief. And from here, we can see the development of the Chaitya arch from this Lomas Rishi cave. And some more examples we can see here, such type of development from Lomas Rishi cave to then Bhaje, and then Karla, then Ajanta, and the Vishwakarma cave, and this Bhuvaneshwar caves. So what's such type of this Chaitya arch development? Here you can see one example from Maharashtra. An early Chaitya at Bhaje caves, Pune, wooden architecture, this imitated in stone with decorative roof timbers in wood of 2nd century BC. We'll take the more information in our Satvana session. Here the remains of the circular Chaitya, Tuja caves, Junnar. On the route of this Pune to Junnar, you can see such type of around 314 caves, and among them this is one of there. So here you can see the architecture, the development of the architecture. Here the caves of Udaygiri and Khandagiri, called Lena or Lenia in the inscriptions. The Kharvela inscriptions are also there. The 1st century BC. Now the developed some caves here on the same place of Khandagiri, Udaygiri. The most important of this group is this Rani Gumpha in Udaygiri, which is double storied monastery. And here Khandagiri, Udaygiri were dug out mostly during the region of this Kharvela for this abode of Jaina sects. So as we mentioned earlier, Chandragupta followed the Jaina sect. So how we can say that? So such type of some examples are there, and it's mentioned in Jaina literature too. Here we can see some of the figures of Parshvanatha and others. And here carving of sculptures inside the caves started here. We can say that. So the social life and this wars, the weapons and the animals we can see in these sculptures. Here some Roman warriors, impact of the cultures in art. So as earlier I mentioned, the impact of this foreign or outside India, this art impact on this Indian art and architecture we can see. And then here the last one, the example of this cave architecture, Bodh Gufa Samuha of Malpura, which is in Jhalawad, Rajasthan. You can see such developments. Now we'll come towards this stupas. So predominantly hemispherical architecture, stupas are marvelous Buddhist structures that are not only home to the important relics, but also act as spiritual zone for people where people can come to meditate and find the peace and harmony with their soul. So as in my first session we mentioned, in last session also we mentioned why we need such type of the religious places or the temples or this our प्रतिमास, मूर्तियां क्यों निर्माण हुई इसके बारे में हमने सुना था. सो ये रिलीजियस प्लेसेस क्यों निर्माण हुए, उसका मकसद क्या था, तो हम यहाँ पर देखते हैं. Nowadays when we read about the temples, मंदिरों के मंदिर और श्रद्धा, रिलीजियस और रिलीजन, उसके बारे में जब हम पढ़ते हैं, मंदिर और धर्म उसके बारे में जब हम पढ़ते हैं, तब हमें उसका जो बेस है सभी वो यहाँ पर समझ में आता है. So it's also act as a spiritual zone for people where people can come to meditate and find the peace and harmony with their soul. So find the peace and harmony. So it's a most important thing. It promotes love, peace, beauty, and celebrates the joy of life. So it's very true because our all these rituals are related with our these monuments. So though it's an Buddhist monuments or the Jaina monuments or Hindu, so we can say not only but other Christian, Islam and all this, Sikh. So यहाँ पर ये बात बहुत आवश्यक है कि हम अपनी खुशी जो भी है हमारी सुंदरता, हमारा दुख जो भी है, भगवान के सामने जाकर के लोग मन्नत मांगते हैं। इसका मतलब क्या है? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस? सो कहीं तो हम अपने एक्सप्रेशंस, फीलिंग्स को हम व्यक्त करना चाहते हैं, और जहां पर हम दिल से कह सकते हैं। सो इसलिए इस बात को बहुत अहमियत प्राप्त हुई। श्रद्धा जो निर्माण होती है, उसका कारण ही ये है, ऐसा मुझे लगता है। If you are a spiritual person who finds happiness in ancient preachings and lesson of truth as well as history, then you should definitely visit these glorious structures once in your lifetime. Stupas are also representative of Buddhist art and architecture that flourished immensely under the rule of King Ashoka. And therefore, you will notice that none of the stupas are identical to each other. Although they are all important places of religious and historical teachings, one should also visit the stupas to appreciate the brilliant architecture and artwork that can be seen on the walls of stupas. They have execute sculptures and scriptures that is a true representation of the history and culture, and that's a great way for you to be initiated into Buddhism and its values and principles. The multiple stupas around the country trace the several historical changes and developments that can be identified through the artistic evolutions and structural changes that are characteristic to certain corresponding historical periods. Therefore, if you are a history buff who loves learning about Buddhist culture, then you must. Moreover, a trip to the stupas is also ideal for art lovers and avid photographers who aim to see beauty everywhere. So, what's the architecture of these stupas? The stupas consist of a cylindrical drum with a circular anda and a harmika and a egg, and harmika and chatra on the top. So these are the words used there. So what is the anda, or the this egg type structure? This hemispherical mound, symbolic of the mound of dirt used to cover Buddha's remains. In many stupas, actual relics were used. And harmika, square railing on the top of the mound. Chhatra, central pillar supporting a triple umbrella form. And material which used for this, the core of the stupas was made up of unburnt brick, while the outer surface was made by using burnt bricks, which were then covered with a thick layer of plaster and mehdi, and the toran were decorated with wooden sculptures. The mortar used in the brickwork of ancient stupas is a clay slurry type called a bitter clay with an adhesive form from a tree and a solvent of this sweetened water. So it's mentioned in the Mahabhamsha and wrote by this figure in 1950. Examples: Sanchi Stupa in Madhya Pradesh is the most famous of the Ashokan Stupa, but we can see some more examples too. So palaces, we will see about that in our next slides. Greek historian Megasthenes described the palaces of the Mauryan Empire as one of the greatest creations of mankind, and Chinese traveler Faiyan called Mauryan palaces as God-gifted monuments. But here, just I want to say that about both resources, about the Kautilya the Arthashastra and Megasthenes Indica by Dr. Sharad Hebaldkar sir and some other scholars. There are too many debates, but here I will not mention about that all, because we need to study the art and architecture part only, not the historical events. Okay, so the important schools and styles of art in this period of this Mauryan period are the Gandhara, Mathura, and Amravati. This Amravati developed in later on period, in Satvana period particularly. So material used, wood was the principal building material used during this Mauryan Empire. Examples: the Mauryan capital at this Patliputra, Ashoka's palace at Kumrar, Chandragupta's this palace. Here you can see the symbol of this stupa, and it's mentioned as these stupas are the circular temple built of earth covered with stone or brick. The plan, elevation, section, and the total form of which were all derived from this circle. Here you can see stupa become a cosmic symbol in response to a major human condition. That with the enlightenment of the Buddha, stupa become a particularly Buddhist symbol. Here, again, we will mention about the structures. This stupa consisted of cylindrical from and circular anda with a harmika and chhatra. But stupas, one best example is at Berat in Rajasthan, the great stupa of Sanchi. So it's an one most famous stupa. Main events of Buddha's life, which are represented in stupas: birth, then this renunciation and enlightenment, and this Dharma Chakra Parivartan, and Mahaparinibbana. So main Jataka stories which are we can see on the stupas are this Chadanta Jataka, then this Vidura Pandita, Puru Shibi Jataka, and same story famous in Hindu scriptures also. Then Shama Jataka. These narratives of Jatakas are mainly this synoptic, continuous, and episodic. We can see here just one basic structure of this stupas. What's used there in the stupa's construction. Then here, the outer portion of this stupa with the ramp and this entrance salon. And then here you can see this modeling. Here you can see its measurements. प्रमाण क्या होना चाहिए उसके लिए हम यहाँ पर एक एग्जांपल देख सकते हैं. Then these pillars in front of the Sanchi Stupa, like as in front of the temples, as the Garuda Stamba, or we can say it's as Dhwaja Stamba. And here, one simple form, this structure with this harnika. And now you can see nearly doubled the diameter of the initial stupa, encasing it in stone and built this balustrade and railing around it. So railing not only at the outer portion of the stupa, but here you can see this second railing is also there. Now you can see here some more parts. This is from the gateways, this double stairway gateways, and this south torna, then this stone fence, and this east tornas, this stupa dome, harmika, yashti, this vertical portion is called as the yashti, then the chatras, and upper level walkway of this ambulatory passageway here at this side. Now here we can see this torana, harmika, and this axis pillar and this vedika. So this is the complete structure of a stupa. And beautification of the stupa, such as one example, fine example is Amravati stupa. So now again here some more figures for to get clear understanding. Now here you can see this best example. The stupa dome has 1, 2, or 3 cylindrical these terraces or basal rings at the bottom, which sometimes form a plinth. At its top, the dome carries the square chamber, which is a solid structure having a square plan. Then come one or more cylinders, the spire and the pinnacle consisting of a minaret and a crystal. All these components except the square chamber are this asymmetric. Here you can see this figure, main components of a Sri Lankan stupa here. This 1, 2, and 3, this portion is called as the basal rings. Then 4th as the dome, 5th as the square chamber, and then 6th as a cylinder, and the 7th this spire and minaret and this crystal. This is the components of Sri Lankan stupa. Okay, so the dome is the biggest component of a stupa, and it contains the relics in a relic chamber, either at the level of the basal ring at the bottom or in the square chamber at the top. Several shapes have been used. We can see such relics in many museums. In our this Hyderabad museum, which is in Nampally Garden, we can see the relics also there. Several shapes have been used for the dome, described as the bell, bubble, paddy hip, pot, and this lotus. The bell and the bubble shapes are the most common, and the mega stupas, Abhyagiri and this Jetwana, are of paddy hip shape. This shape is the most stable from a structural point of view, as it produces no tension in the dome under self-weight. The ancient builders have arrived at this shape maybe by trial and error for the collegial stupas they built. So by Silva and Ranavira, it's mentioned, and these both stupas, Abhyagiri and the Jetavana stupa, both are in Sri Lanka. So you can see here now this cross section, vertical cross section of this stupas. Great care was taken in selecting the sites and laying out the foundations. Most stupas have been founded on rock, and for other elaborate preparations of the foundations have been made. So Mahavamsha describes how the foundation of this Ruvanvelli stupa was laid. First, the land was dug out to a depth of 7 cubits. around 5.3 meters, and then crushed stones were stamped down by elephants whose feet were bound in leather. Then better clay was spread over the stones, and bricks were laid over the clay. Over these, a rough cement and a network of iron was laid. Finally, a sheet of copper and a sheet of silver were laid. These last two lines, there are different opinions of the scholars about these last two lines over these from there. This more or less gives reinforced the concrete foundations with the damp proofing. Then the mortar which used here in the brickwork of ancient stupas is a clay slurry type called better clay with and this adhesive from. So this was spread between different courses of bricks in very thin layers, unlike the thick layers used in modern brickwork. So आज भी जब हम कंस्ट्रक्शन करते हैं तो दो ईंटों के बीच में सीमेंट का जो लेयर लगाते हैं उसके बाद हम ब्रिक्स रखते हैं. So like that only. Basically to fill the cavities between the bricks and make them almost touch each other. Then the analysis of the original mortar samples from Abhagiri and Jetwana stupas revealed that they consisted of finely crushed this dolomite lime mixed with the sand and clay in a ratio 1:4 in Abhagiri and 1:5 in Jetwana. This indicates that the lime mortar technology had also changed across the centuries. Then the plaster, about the plaster, the outer surface of the stupa brickwork was waterproofed using a plaster layer. Some of the stupas have several layers of plaster reaching overall thickness of 9 to 10 inch. These plasters are like lime concrete rather than this normal stucco. Okay. Then the materials used in the construction, here is mentioned heavy pond, the sand in a mortar. It's mentioned in by King Dutkam employed by the master builder who said that he will pound the sand in a mortar and then shift it so that no grass or any such thing will grow in the stupa. King also appointed a committee to supervise the construction work. Then about the bricks, so different sizes of bricks are used, but here by as a TL dating of these bricks from ancient stupas has established their dates of manufacture within 7% of these historical dates. So it is logical to assume that the earliest bricks used in the construction of stupas were unburnt, sand dried mud bricks. These were later replaced with high quality burnt bricks. So Mahavamsha in fact states that when this Tuparama, the first stupa was built, mud bricks were heaped over the sacred spot to form a stupa. So different size of these bricks are used. You can see here this table for which type of which size of bricks are used, variation of this brick size. So in 3rd century BC, we can see the length, breadth, and thickness from 3rd century BC to this 12th century. Okay, so great scholarly article wrote by this Ranavaran and some other scholars by Silvas too. So here you can see this early evolution of the stupas from Mauryan to Kushana. So in the Mauryan, it's a simple form, and then the Indo-Greek with this railing and this Hermica and St. Then in this Indo-Greek, then again some one entry or two entries or three entries, many entries. Then this late Indo-Greek Indo-Saxonian architecture. Here you can see some more development, and in the Kushana, it's Kushana, and then in Satavahana too. सबसे ज़्यादा बेस्ट डेवलपमेंट जो है हम सातवाहनों केस में देख सकते हैं. Here the elements and the stupas, same as in our temples, we can see about the Pancha Mahabhuta. It's related with the Pancha Mahabhutas: earth, water, air, fire, and this ether. So here you can see this in India or in Tibet or in Japan. So here the Mooladhara, then this Manipura, Anahata, and this Vishuddha, and this Sahasrakara, this chakras used here. And here you can see this earth, water, fire, and this ether. Okay, air and ether. So an early stupa of this Chakpat, which is near this Chakdara, which is in Pakistan, in Dir district. So this is around 6 meters, around 20 feet in diameter, with fallen umbrella on side. So it's mentioned by James Ferguson. You can see the simple architectural form of the stupa. Then Manikya stupa, located in district Rawalpindi, dated back to 3rd century BC. It has a round stupa with a row of these Corinthian pilasters around the drum and stairs in front of the plinth. Then the next development, the earliest Buddhist stupa and monastery is found in Dharmarjika. We know the most famous Takshashila University. So this is the same place, and which is located 3 kilometers from Takshashila Museum. Then we will see another example from Maharashtra. The stupa of Sopara is famous by the name of Nala Sopara. So it's a Sopara which is around 47 kilometers from Mumbai. And in April 1882, Bhagwan Lal Indraji, a noted archaeologist, numismatic, scientific graphist, excavated this site, and the ruins of Buddhist stupa was found. So here just I want to say not only this stupa but with this two rock edicts was also found. Then here this coffer also enclosed relic caskets of copper, silver, stone, crystal and gold along with numerous gold flowers and fragments of this baking bowl. You can see this one rock edicts, the ninth Ashokan edict, but this is in our Chhatrapati Shivaji Museum in Mumbai. But where is the another one, eighth Ashokan edict? I haven't get any information about that. I was called so many scholars, but till today I haven't get any information. But it's mentioned by Bhagwan Lalji. And then here the view of this Berat Stupa is a freestanding Buddhist stupa at Chaityagraha located about a mile southwest of the city Berat, Rajasthan. You can see the plan here. As now the difference between stupa and Chaitya is that stupa is a dome-shaped Buddhist monument used to house relics of Lord Buddha, while Chaitya is a Buddhist or Jain shrine including a stupa. So please be careful about this stupa and Chaitya. Difference between a stupa and a Chaitya. So now here you can see some more examples of these photographs. This is a drawing of a Berat Stupa by Percy Brown. Then this is the Saranatha Dharmarjika Stupa and Priyashoka Nigira. This is from Saranath. And then Kesariya Stupa is a Buddhist stupa in Kesariya located near Patna in Bihar. The first construction of the stupa is dated of 3rd century BC, but in later on period it's developed. So this is almost 400 feet and raises to height of about 104 feet. Here some more findings from this stupa, and then Totlakonda Buddhist stupa, which is near Vishakhapatnam. And this was well within the influence of this ancient Kalinga, which was an important source of Buddhism of Sri Lanka and various parts of Southeast Asia. So here we can see the fusion of this India and abroad Indian architecture. Then some this Bharuch, this stupa, which is most famous, is a village located in the Satna district of Madhya Pradesh. And this Bharuch stupa may have been the first built by the Maurya king Ashoka. It's mentioned in some books. The Bharuch stupa depicted on one of the friezes. This is now in Freer Gallery of Art. But here we can see this complete Bharuch stupa. Nowadays we can see its parts in our Indian Museum, Kolkata, or in British Museum or somewhere else. But only this is the sculpture where we can see this complete Bharuch stupa. Then at the time of excavation or when discovered by the archaeologist, you can see the figures. Experts believe the core of this original stupa of Bharuch, which was built by Mauryan Emperor Ashoka in 3rd century, and that 3rd century BC, and that it was enlarged in late 2nd century. The other structure found near the stupa Buddhist temple is believed to date to a much later period, the Gupta era. But about this also there are different opinions. And here we can see this artistic excellence is that this stupa, which is around 21 meter in diameter and made up of bricks that had been lit, and there were clearly two kinds of bricks used to build the stupa. As we earlier mentioned about this different size of bricks used there. When Cunningham found the stupa, only a small portion of its base was intact. This portion revealed that the stupa had originally been plastered on outside, and this Pradakshina Patha, the path of this circumambulation, was clearly this demarcated, and it was thus possible to measure this circumference. This was a small stupa compared to the two large ones at Sanchi. but it's really beautiful here. You can see some of these relics here, which is kept in Indian Museum, Kolkata. Here, some this artistic work. It's called as the Gajalakshmi. Somewhere it's mentioned as the Gajanta Lakshmi, Gajalakshmi, and it is related with the Gautam Buddha's mother. It's mentioned here, and some more figures with this warrior with his weapon and swords. Here you can see some more figures with this artistic view, and some writings also there. Here such beautiful figures. uh, we can say एक इंसान का उस समय का पहराव कैसा होगा, द कॉस्ट्यूम्स, ड्रेसिंग स्टाइल, और उसका था, ये हमें क्लियरली इससे पता चलता है. वी कैन सी मोर फीमेल फिगर्स फ्रॉम द मौर्य पीरियड. वो जितने प्राप्त हुए अप टू नाउ द डिस्कवर्ड दिस फ्रैगमेंट, जितने प्राप्त हुए उसमें महिलाओं के, फीमेल के बहुत ज्यादा है, मगर पुरुषों के बहुत कम मात्रा में प्राप्त हुए, उसमें ये हम देख सकते हैं. Here, some more points there. Then Bharut pillar capital with this illustrious beds and this release and flame palmet. And here you can see some more. But this is the interesting thing is that here you can see such type of this architectural views and the railings. अभी ये सिर्फ रेलिंग है या और भी कुछ इसके लिए आर्टिस्टिक व्यू के लिए यूज किया गया है, एक अलग बात है. धम्म चक्र परिवर्तन की जो बात अभी हमने की थी, वो भी हम यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं. Then this about the great stupa at Sanchi, which is the oldest structure and was originally commissioned by the Emperor Ashoka, and it was developed in Shunga, Kushana, and Satvana period too. So, according to one version of this Mahavamsha, the Buddhist chronicle of Sri Lanka, Ashoka was closely connected to the region of Sanchi when he was here apparent and was journeying as a visitor to Ujjain. He is said to have halted at Vidisha, and they married the daughter of the local banker. She was called Devi and later gave Ashoka two sons, Ujjaina and Mahendra, and a daughter of daughter Sangamitra after Ashoka. But here this story is also mentioned. There are variations about this story too. But how it connect with this Sanchi, we just get the idea about that. From the first stupa to this temple number 40, we can see these different types of architectural monuments are there. So the original, this main stupa, which is on a high rectangular stone platform with two flights of the stairs to the east and west. It was an apsidal hall, probably made of timber. It was burned down sometime in 2nd century. It's okay. But here you can see this photographs of this Sanchi stupa and the structural features of this stupa. The spheral dome is symbolized and infinite space of the sky. The dome is called as the Anda. The dome is solid brickwork, a large hemispherical dome which is flat at the top and crowned by a triple umbrella of the chhatra. A railing enclosure called Vedika, which is about 3.35 high, leaving an ambulatory passage or Pradakshina Path with gateways, the upper ambulatory passage, and there are 4 gateways known as the Tornas at the cardinal points of the campus. So here this photograph of Sanchi Stupa, which was shared by the government, this governor of Bihar, and here you can see this drone photography of this stupa, and the clear view of this Sanchi Stupa with its Yashti, Chhatra, Harmika, Torana, Vedika, and this Tambas and Shuchi, this Medi and the Anda. Then this is the temple number 40. So we can see this structure. Now, if you can visit the Vivekananda memorial of this Kanyakumari, you can see this upside portion, same like that. So impact of such type of architecture till today there on the different monuments. And here this stairs and the staircase and these railings and the beautiful figures, the lotus or the different flowers with the beads. This you can see here the beads. So this type of structures is the Ashoka built a stupa and this in Kushinagara, and then this Anantapindika stupa at Shravasti. Then in Jetwana Shravasti, different type of these stupas are there, and the figures, the beautiful this Buddhist figures we can see there. Now, here you can see this rediscovery of the Ashokan pillar in Sarnath in 1905, ancient Buddhist monasteries near this Dhammika Stupa of Sarnath. And then here you can see the Dhammika Stupa. Now, the size of this stupa, from the small size to this large size of the Dhammika Stupa, you can see. Then which type of this stupa worship was there? You can see this photograph from this Peshawar University Museum. Just now we get the information about the pillars of the Mauryan period, but here you can see the stupa and such type of the pillars are there. In India, we can't see such type of any stupa nowadays. आज की तारीख में हमें भारत में इस तरह से, यानी जैसे एक ताजमहल के चारों कॉर्नर में हम मीनार देखते हैं, उस तरह से किसी स्तूप के इसमें चारों तरफ में इस तरह से स्तंभ है, और ये मौर्यन पिलर्स जो है, जिसको अशोकान पिलर्स कहा जाता है. सो इस तरह के पिलर्स अभी हम कहीं नहीं देख सकते, बट हियर दिस इज द ओनली यूनिक फिगर वी कैन सी. And then this type of the sculptures, and as in last our session when we studied about this Indus civilization, such type of some figures we can see there too. यहाँ पर कुछ animals figures and human figures हम देखते हैं. Here some statues of this Chandragupta Maurya period of the 4th and 3rd century BC. Just one thing, head from this Saranatha, and here some most beautiful figures from this Chandraketugad from Bengal, which is about 38 kilometers northeast of Kolkata. But it's mentioned that these are from the Maurya period and some are from the Shunga period too. So, but the uniqueness, what is the uniqueness of these figures? We can see here. See such type of the figures. This in Tribhanga Kruti pose. तीन जगह पर जहां पर उसको ये किया है, like as the Padmapani Bodhisattva, and the hairstyles which used here, you can see the same styles which used here too. So such type of the Chandraketugad these sculptures. आज की तारीख में सबसे ज्यादा एंटिक्विटीज और कुछ बेस्ट मौर्य श्रृंगा पीरियड के, सातवाना पीरियड के अगर कुछ आर्टिफैक्ट्स एंटिक्विटीज अगर चोरी हुए हैं तो ये चंद्रकेतुगढ़ से हुए हैं, बिकॉज ऑफ इट्स ब्यूटी. सी यू कैन सी द ऑर्नामेंट्स एंड द ब्यूटीज ऑल टाइप्स. सभी तरह से अगर हम देखें तो ये स्कल्पचर जिस तरह से बने हुए हैं, हियर यू कैन सी सच टाइप ऑफ दिस पिलर्स, डेकोरेटेड पिलर्स with this different types of the capitals, and the figures. यहाँ उनके हाथों में जो इक्विपमेंट है, किसी जो स्मॉल फैन जिसको हम कहते हैं पंखा, तो वो जहाँ दिखाए गए हैं, तो यहाँ पर हम देख सकते हैं कि ये अलग रूप से हमें दिखाई देता है. सो चामरधारिणी और जो वर्ड हम यूज करते हैं बात के इसमें, जिसकी शुरुआत इन स्कल्पचर्स में हम देख सकते हैं. और यहाँ पर और कुछ फिगर्स. दिस इज द गांधारा ग्रीको बुद्धिस्ट स्कल्पचर ऑफ गौतम बुद्धा delivering his first sermon in the Deer Park at Sarnath. He preached the 4 noble truths, the middle path and this eightfold path, Ashtanga Marga and Ashtanga Pratyutta Samudpad. In the statue, he is seated in Padmasana with his right hand, this turning the Dhamma Chakra. Here you can see this Dhamma Chakra and such type of different figures जिसमें अलग अलग पोज हम देख सकते हैं, and his followers भी हम यहाँ देख सकते हैं. Here some more beautiful figures. This from the Gandhara in the British Museum. So the seated Buddha dating from this 300 CE was found near this Jamaica, Pakistan, and this is in Asian Art Museum in San Francisco. This is the Hercules depiction of this Vajrapani as the protector of the Buddha. This is from 2nd century Gandhara, British Museum. So why we have to see this? Because from this 3rd century BC to 3rd century CE, sitting this Maitreya, this Buddhist sculptures development, and seated Buddha Gandhara in Berlin Museum. Here, this is one of the excellent Buddha statue in Maurya period. You can see here why the Buddha or this great personality is called as the Mahatma or the Chakravarti Samrat. The one symbol which mentioned as Ajanubahu, जिनके हाथ अपने घुटनों तक पहुंच सकते, Ajanubahu. तो ऐसा उसका नाम दिया है. You can see here his hand up to this knee, and here on the hand you can see हाथों के ऊपर जो है वो चक्र जो बना हुआ है. सो इस तरह के कुछ सिंबल्स जो या तो चक्रवर्ती सम्राट के लक्षण है या तो फिर महात्मा या कोई ग्रेट पर्सन के जो लक्षण बताए गए हैं. दूसरी बात, द सेकंड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज दैट दिस टाइप ऑफ दिस क्लॉथ्स और जो बनाए वस्त्र जिस तरह से बनाए गए हैं, शरीर के अंदर से ये घुटना भी हम यहाँ पर उसको देख सकते हैं. सो इतनी सुंदर रूप से भारभूत और इस तरह के कुछ और भी स्ट्रक्चर जो है जो बताए गए हैं. और ये यहाँ पर द फ्यूचर बुद्धा मैत्री ऑफ गांधारा. Here you can see the different types of this figures. कई अलग अलग विस्मय भाव जिसमें आनंद, आश्चर्य, चिंता, करुणा, इस तरह के अलग अलग भाव एक ही इसमें हम देख सकते हैं. Now this is the most famous दीदारगंज यक्षी. जो दो सबसे बेस्ट माने जाते हैं, एक जैसे हमने कहा रामपुरा बुल एंड दिस इज द दीदारगंज यक्षी. सो इट्स अ रियली ब्यूटीफुल स्कल्पचर. जिस तरह से इसका निर्माण किया गया है, द फिनिशिंग सेम एज द अशोकान पिलर्स एंड सेम दिस चमक जिस तरह से पत्थर पे निर्माण की गई है, उसके जो बेस्ट एग्जांपल्स माने जाते हैं उसमें दीदारगंज यक्षी का उदाहरण कह सकते हैं. देन द रिंगस्टोन, एक्चुअली इसके बारे में एक पूरा सेशन ही सिर्फ दीदारगंज यक्षी के बारे में किया गया है. आई विल शेयर इट विथ यू. So ringstone with this 4 goddess and 4 this dead palms. This is in Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, and this stone sphere with the scenes of this reds at the shrine of the Yaksha, male nature spirit, and from Maurya period. Then this serpent hood of Chunar sandstone, the same stone which is used for this Mauryan pillar. And now we will see some of the coins of this Maurya period. This is the Kasharpana of this Mauryan Empire. And here some silver punch marked coins of Mauryan Empire with symbols of wheels and elephant. Then if you want to study this Mauryan Empire coinage, then this punch marked coins or the silver and copper and this panna or mashika and engravings on these pillars, elephant, stupa, branches, snake, sun, and the scorpion, weapons, human figures, mountains, and train railing. And same type of the coins we can see in Satvana too. Now we come towards this rock art, which we about which we get the information in our this first session, second session, and in last session too. The unique petroglyphs are they spreading across this Indus coastline to Baltistan and this reaching to Ladakh and Tibet. So it's not only 10,000 or 20,000 BC, but we can see the same in 6th or 7th millennium too. And the Buddhist petroglyphs were found along this Karakoram highway or the Silk Road from this Shaital to this Kunjab Pass. But again, from 7th, 6th century BC to 1st century, also we can see there. And on the same route, you can see the edicts of Ashoka and the stupas. And in all over India, we can see this is the most famous rock edicts of Ashoka. It's somewhere many times it mentioned that 84,000 stupas was built by Ashoka, but nowadays we can see few of them only. और जहाँ पर rock edicts है, ऐसे कुछ जगह पर at some places of this rock edicts you can see such type of the rock art too. And in one of the rock art you can see this architecture monument figure. Then such type of this inscriptions, Brahmin scriptures of the Mauryan pillar. This is the Ashokan pillar at Firozshah Kotla, Delhi, originally from this Topar Ahmednagar district of Haryana. And then this Kandar, this bilingual rock inscription, Greek and Aramaic by King Ashoka from Kandar. Why we have to see this? हमको ये क्यों देखना है यहाँ पर? Why we need to think about this? How this scripts writing, लेखन कला का विकास कैसे हुआ, script writing, writing skill कैसे डेवलप हुआ, वो इससे हम देख सकते हैं. And then here you can see this mirror like polishing of these granite walls left wall of this entrance corridor to the cave of this Gopika, also called the Nagarjuna Hill Cave of this Gaya district Bihar, and mirror effect increased by this low shooting angle. These quasi-perfect walls were dug into the hard rock and polished before 261 BC, date of the other Clumsy inscriptions of Ashoka. If you just stand in front of this, you can see your image. So it's really like the mirror-like polishing. And when I was visited there, the Dhauli, the Kharwela Kings, this inscription. So really wonderful stories are there. So यहाँ पर इसकी विशेष बात है, the speciality of this rock edicts, जहाँ सम्राट अशोका की करुणा और अहिंसा की जो बात की जाती है, धर्माज्ञा की जो बात की जाती है, वो जिसमें ये कहता है कि ये मैं सबका सबके लिए हूँ, सब मेरी संतान है, ऑल ह्यूमन, नॉट ओनली ह्यूमन, एनिमल्स के बारे में भी उन्होंने जो कहा है, और मेरे उनके अपने भोजन कक्ष में जो हत्याएं होती थी वो भी रोक देनी चाहिए, उसके बारे में जो जिक्र किया गया है. सो ये रॉक एडिट्स उसके लिए मुझे लगता है सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है. एंड सम फिगर्स देयर एट द धवली. ये खंडगिरी उदयगिरी से, जब मैं भुवनेश्वर गया था वहां से ये नजदीक है, खंडगिरी उदयगिरी एंड दिस धवली. So you can see this this elephant figure, rock cut this elephant figure there, and when King Priyadarshini had been anointed 19 years, he went to this Jalta, and then this cave, Sukrasya was given to the Ajivikas. So it's there, and some more inscriptions which we find out in Maharashtra. This is near Pune. This is the place called as the Govitri. यहाँ पर हमने ये एक पाली नाम का एक गांव है, वहां पर ये इंस्क्रिप्शन हमें प्राप्त हुआ था. इट्स 2200 years old, 2nd century BC inscription. भदंत इंद्र रक्षिताने हे लेने को रविले. So it's mentioned there in this with our Force Motors owner Abhay Firodiaji's P.A. Dhadiwalji was with me there, and we find out that it's interesting. एक बहुत बड़ी एक पहाड़ी के ऊपर एक केव के अंदर पानी से अंदर जाना पड़ता है आपको, क्योंकि रास्ते में पानी है और वहां से आपको अंदर जाना पड़ता है. राइट साइड वॉल पर ये आपको वहां पर ये इंस्क्रिप्शन मिलेगा. एंड हियर वी कैन सी सम ऑफ दिस पिलर्ड हॉल और दिस पैलेसेस ऑफ द मौर्य, दिस कुमार साइट ऑफ पाटलिपुत्रा. See this structure which we can see in this plan of this 80 columns pillared hall, and it's clearly we can see perfect shape and perfect plan, and these ruins of this Patliputra capital, this present situation, and wooden palisade discovered at this Bulandi Bagh site of Patliputra. Then the Patliputra capital discovered at this Bulandi Bagh. You can see here some of the figures, this Kumarar coping stone with Venus, and then here some interesting figures of a griffin, lion plus eagle statue, and we can see such type of some interesting figures in Satvana in Pitalkhora caves, the horses with these wings. So you can see such type of interesting figures. This Patliputra ekshas with Mauryan inscriptions are there. The two monumental ekshas discovered in Patna and thought to be 3rd century BC. The two Brahmi inscriptions are there, and here this yaksha, we can say this life-size figures. So from here you can see such type of the life-size figures. And now we come toward this town planning, the last point. During the 3 centuries of this pre-Mauryan period, a number of settlements grew and expanded, which we may refer to as towns. But it was really during the Mauryan period that some of these towns developed into cities. From this period onwards, we have a clear idea of this distinction between the settlements as identified by their size. The grama or the village was then as now the most numerous class of settlement, but in size and importance, it was being suppressed by the town or the nigama. So nigam. So this word used for the cities or the nagaras, nigamas, which was a settlement between a village and a city in size, but with a specific function as an administrative or market center. So Athodi Bazar, the weekly marketplace, at the top of the settlement hierarchy was the Nagara, the city. So Nigama, village, then Nigama, and then the city. सो गांव, नगर और उसके बाद शहर, ऐसी डेफिनेशन हम उसमें कर सकते हैं. सो वेयर इट्स मेंशनड इन different this Mahavamsha or in this Kautilya's Arthashastra, we can see this conjectural reconstruction of the main gate of Kushi Nagra, and we can see this in the relief at Sanchi, and the important manuscript Kautilya's Arthashastra, which mentioned about the fort or the city architecture. So here the chapter, the third one chapter about this Durga Vidanam, different type about the different types of forts he mentioned there. Jala Durga, then the water fort, island fort, sea or river fort, or the hill fort, then forest forts, earthen forts, and this Durga human fort like that. So such type of different types of forts he mentioned there, and in detail about these forts he mentioned there. So but because of less time we will skip some points, but I will share these all notes with you so that you will get the clear idea of these all. He mentioned about all these measurements at a distance of 4 dandas from the ditch rampart, 6 dandas high and twice as much broad shall be erected by heaping mud upwards and by making it square at the bottom, oval at the by the टैम्पलिंग. सो मैं इसका ज्यादा मेजरमेंट और उसके ज्यादा टेक्निकल डिटेल्स में नहीं जाऊंगा. अगर वो ज्यादा हम उतना टेक्निकल डिटेल्स में गए तो फिर हम सेशन कभी पूरा नहीं कर पाएंगे. सो प्लीज फॉरगिव मी फॉर दैट ऑल. We will just see the art and architecture important these places and the figures. उसके बारे में ही हमको जानकारी लेने में इतना टाइम लगता है. टेक्निकल डिटेल्स जो भी है जितने उसके नोट्स हम शेयर करेंगे. अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि ये सफिशिएंट नहीं है, इट्स नॉट सफिशिएंट द टेक्निकल, we will arrange some special sessions regarding that too. Okay, so here about the chariots and other places he mentioned here all these technical details, construction of forts, the chapter number 3, and here we can see some of the figures as we mentioned earlier. You can see here the clearly here the war, the warriors are there with their this bows, धनुष्य हाथ में लेकर के खड़े हैं और ये लोग फोर्ट के इसके ऊपर जिस तरह से छुपे हुए हैं, और उसमें भी इस तरह का ये आर्किटेक्चर व्यू दिखाया गया है. यहाँ भी नीचे देख सकते हैं, यहाँ पर कुछ योद्धा नीचे बैठ करके ये कर रहे हैं और दो भाषण के बीच में ये यहाँ पर ये योद्धा जो है वो खड़ा है, चिपकर खड़ा है. शायद ये हो सकता है ऊपर से कुछ बोरिंग किया जा रहा होगा. हमारे यहाँ पर महाराष्ट्र में जितने फोर्ट्स है उसमें कहाँ जाता है, ऊपर से तप्त जो ऑयल होता है, जो गर्म ऑयल जो होता है वो उसके ऊपर डाला जाता था, ऐसा कहा जाता है. मे बी हियर यू कैन सी सच टाइप ऑफ सम फिगर्स देयर. नाउ अबाउट द म्यूजिक. सो Chandragupta Maurya himself and his wife were great music lovers. They used to enjoy vocal and dance performance usually in his court. There were a lot of artists in his court who were master of their art forms. In both North and South India, the same kind of music was prevalent and there was no difference between them. But here is the question mark about this. From time to time, there were meetings between the artists of both sides. There was very cordial atmosphere among the artists of both sides because Chandragupta used to organize music events by inviting the eminent artists from both sides. So here you can see some relocate with this spiritual aspect, and classical music again was brought to the forefront, use of veena and some more. Here not only in India but in Sri Lanka, China, Burma, Tibet, Egypt, Java, Indonesia, Cambodia, Laos, Greece and Japan, you can see this Indian classical music which spread over, and this Indian music reached these countries and was appreciated. It's not only in the Mauryan period but in Chera and Chola period too. And then about the Natya Shastra, you can see this Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra one is the most important, but again there are the debate about the period 2nd century BC to 2nd century AD, but we can see here the influence of the music, classical Indian dance and literature as well. It is very important to the Indian classical music because it is the only text which gives such a detail about the music and instruments of the period. Natya Shastra can be called the foundation of Indian music. After the Samveda, the Natya Shastra was the first major text and dealt with music at length. Why we can say this only? Because we have no such any written evidences about the folk music. लोक संगीत और लोक गीतों की परंपराओं के बारे में कोई लिखित प्रमाण आज की तारीख में हमारे पास उपलब्ध नहीं है. अगर है या मुझे नहीं पता है तो मुझे क्षमा कीजिए, मगर उसकी वजह से ये जो बातें हैं जो हमारे सामने आज आती है उसको हम मंजूर करते हैं, हमें उसको समझना है और उससे हमारा आर्ट स्टाइल्स किस म्यूजिक किस तरह से डेवलप हुआ वो हम जान सकते हैं. So in the period between 200 BC to 300 AD, certain general characteristics of art may be highlighted. Art activities in this period were mostly related to religions practiced in this period and symbols and units associated with them. The Buddha image, which began to be sculpted in this period, was a departure from earlier representations of him in the form of Bodhi tree, stupa, footprints, and making of images of worship become common among other religions as well. So, as the Hinayana and Mahayana sects differ, the construction of stupas, chaityas, and viharas become popular. The art forms and all of their symbolic representations were not exclusive to any particular region. For example, the Bharut and the Sanchi stupas not only depict scenes from the life of Buddha, but also the reliefs of Yakshas, Yakshnis, Nagas, and other popular deities. Similarly, we find that the artists, in order to decorate the stupas, carved many scenes which they observed in nature along with religious ideas. In fact, these are examples of secular art forms. Because of regular interactions with other cultures in this period, we also find elements of non Indian art in the artistic creations of this period. This is particularly true of Gandhara region, which produced art typical to the region in which many different elements come to be assimilated. So at the last, just I want to say some of the best examples here. As I mentioned about this Ranavira and this Silva are excellent articles and the books. Finite element study of the stresses stupa and the bricks unit of construction about the technical details. And here some books by B.N. Mukherjee, the character of this Mauryan Empire and this Chal River. Then Mauryan Art and Architecture. This is wonderful book by D.P. Sharmaji, by Nilkant Shastri, Age of the Nandas and Mauryas. Then Ancient India, Mauryan Empire by John, and Indian History by Mauryan Empire, Dharmendra Kumarji. And these two books by Romila Thapar, Ashoka and the Decline of Mauryan Empire, and the Ashoka, the Search for India's Lost Emperor. Actually, about the Ashoka and Chandragupta Maurya, you can get so many books. Here, the Indus Valley Civilization and Maurya Empire by Charles River and Ancient Indian History by Lalit Sharmaji. Same like the Ancient Indian History, you can get many such type of books. And thanks a lot to all of you. The art and architecture correlates society, culture, and religion. Here you can see one best development of this stupas architecture. This is the Amravati stupa. So we'll get the information about that in our next Satvana session. So if there are any questions, then you can please write it in chat box. Very sorry for late. मुझे क्षमा कीजिए, इतना फास्ट लेने के बावजूद भी ये समय जो है ज्यादा ये हो गया. Okay, there is no any question in chat box. Yes, Lathia sir, you want?
या नमस्ते, गुड इवनिंग सर.
गुड इवनिंग.
आपने जो पाली का जो बताया वो ये जो गणपति वाला पाली है पूना के पास में वो या दूसरा पाली?
नहीं, पाले. Its name is Pale. Pale is a village name, and it is near to our this Mawar Taluka, and which just next after this Kamshet, Kanefata. It's around 26 kilometers from Kanefata on old Pune Bombay highway.
Yeah, so these stupas, which we generally हम लोग जो उसको बुद्धिस्ट के बोलते हैं, मगर मेरे ख्याल से वो टाइम पे इवन हिंदू एंड जैन्स आल्सो हैड दे वर आल्सो हैविंग द स्तूपास, नो?
यस, अभी हम जैनिज्म में भी ये देखते हैं. इट्स वेरी ट्रू. बट जिसमें हमें ये कहना है कि उस समय के किंग्स, अभी जैसे लास्ट में एक लास्ट बट वन स्लाइड जो था उसमें जो कहा कि यहाँ पर हम जो इम्पैक्ट देखते हैं, राजा पर जिस धर्म का प्रभाव था उसी को ज्यादा प्रमोट हुआ हम देखते हैं. बट द आर्टिसंस, जो कलाकार है जिन्होंने ये निर्माण किया, वो तो अपनी खुद की सोच से जो बनाते थे. ये आप बिल्कुल सही कहे. हिंदू, जैना, बुद्धिस्ट, यू कैन सी द ऑल देयर. बट नॉट ओनली दैट, this secular art is also there. बट सेकुलर किसको कहे इसके बारे में भी बड़ा ये होता है, क्योंकि नेचर को भी लोगों ने अपने हिसाब से दिखाने का प्रयास किया है, जैसे स्तूपा केस में भी हमने देखा. So it's very true. You can see the same in all other religions too. But the impact by this Buddhism in this Mauryan period.
And sir, this Amravati school was how much after this Mathura and Gandhara?
Just 1 or 2 centuries.
After 1 or 2 centuries, these Amravati schools are.
Yeah, we will get the information about
part
that.
of Andhra Pradesh.
Yes, sir. Yes, Andhra Amravati, not Maharashtra Amravati.
Yeah. And but do we find any remains today in Andhra Amravati about this?
Yes. There is an excellent book. Just a minute. Here, this is an excellent book, Buddhist Heritage of Andhra Pradesh, and wrote by the great scholar Ishwan Agireddy sir and some more scholars. It was published by Andhra Pradesh Tourism Government of Andhra Pradesh. You can get the information in this book. Here, the same stupa is there.
Right. Thank you.
Actually, bulk of these monuments are in National Museum, and the huge collection is there in Chennai Museum from the Amaravati group. And Shivanaga Reddy sir is trying to shift this and then create a separate museum in Amaravati itself. His speeches will be really good on this. I will share some old videos on Amaravati later.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. On this next 4th October, there will be a meeting regarding that only.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Any more questions? Temple number 40 of Sanchi Stupa is standing temple. What does it mean? Ramejit Sarkarji, we will take the information about this in our next session. Please give information about this and the site. Many stupa are found in this site. Okay, I will share about that too. Chayan Tiwari ji, okay. Murli Mohan sir, could you share the presentations in PDF form? Murli Mohan sir, very sorry for to say, but it's not allowed to us. We asked many times about that, but it's not allowed. So we shared many articles and the books too in our group. Okay.
Sir, what about how questions will be asked in the exam about all these sessions? Because there's such a
if you want to ask anything, you can send me directly on my WhatsApp number.
No. How will be the questions asked in the exam about?
Okay. I will share one sample of this question paper too with all.
Please, sir. Please. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So if there will be no any question, then we will stop here our today's session and we'll meet in next session. Thank you. Thanks a lot to all again.